Today our guests are Chaya and Yossi Siegelman, I should say, the founders of Our Big Kitchen LA, which is a community-run industrial kosher kitchen space where volunteers from all walks of life come together to prepare meals under chef instruction for the distribution to families in need across Los Angeles. In one fun and fast-paced 2-hour volunteer session, they prepare and package over 250 fresh meals and 250 packs of cookies from start to finish. This week, they will be preparing 2,500 meals for Rosh Hashanah. Wow, that's a lot of meals.
Yeah.
Karen and I volunteered in the Pico kitchen, and our souls were elated by the time the session was over. We insisted on interviewing both of them on Yentas in the city because we believe the entire world should know about them and the beautiful work that they do for our community. Welcome to Yentas in the city.
Welcome.
Chaya and Yossi.
Thank you so much for having us. This is such an honor.
Welcome, Chaya and Yossi, to Yentas in the City, founders of Our Big Kitchen LA. I want to start by saying, really, for me personally and Etty, how uplifting it was for us to volunteer this past Sunday at Our Big Kitchen in LA, Our Big Kitchen LA on Pico. We participated in assembling approximately 350 meals with other women, men, children, and people from all different races and religions. Can you please share with our listeners how your organization came to fruition?
Well, how about Chaya? I'll start.
Yeah.
You take over. It started about 20 years ago in Sydney, Australia. And Our Big Kitchen was founded by Rabbi Dr. David and Leah Slavin. It's a fascinating story. Coincidentally, the space of the kitchen is actually underground where my office used to be 20 odd years ago. So I was sent out from my office to make way for this beautiful organization, but how it actually happened was Leah was a hairdresser and she specialized in making wigs with a particular emphasis, a particular market. She had a lot of women recovering from cancer who she was making them wigs and looking after them. And as she was working with them, she's a beautiful person and would converse with them and would ask them, see how they were doing, how they were coping. And, they some of them weren't doing very well at the time. And she found herself emptying her fridge almost every single day and saying, you've got to take a dinner, you've got to take a meal, you've got to take, and after a while of her family eating sandwiches, and then her husband insisting that some volunteers come to the house and prepare some meals so they can be distributed more formally, David and Leah both decided it's time to build a commercial kitchen. And the story goes that it took them a couple of years, but they built it on a slab of beer and a lot of goodwill. They built it's got to be 8,000 to 10,000 massive space. And they're producing right now 250,000 meals a year. That's going out to about 35 charity organizations. So that's how it started.
In Australia.
In Australia. So we moved out here, and Chaya and I, we've been involved, the family's been involved for many years, but I'm one of the directors of Our Big Kitchen in Australia. We moved here 10 years ago, and I guess, Chaya, you can tell the story how it started here.
From when we moved here already, we saw the great need around us. Unfortunately, like you see in Los Angeles, there's such a great need and so many people that are suffering from food insecurity. So it was always in the back of our minds that we want to, we
Wait a minute, show us that swag that you have going on.
Yes. Right there, Our Big Kitchen, that's the logo.
Water bottles. So we saw the great need here and it was always in the back of our minds and the timing was never quite right. And then as soon as COVID hit, we actually sat down with our family and we said, it was such a crazy time for everybody. And we realized right then and there that we could sit back and hide and do, and really, there's so much uncertainty around us, but instead we decided we're going to take action and try and uplift people around us. So at that time, our oldest son had a healthy snack subscription box service that he was running out of our garage. And he was about to go to a trade show that shut down. So he called all his suppliers. They sent a whole bunch of snacks that they were going to use at this trade show to our garage. We got some friends and family. We just started packing these snack boxes and we brought them to all the first responders. This is right at the beginning of COVID, when the whole world was upside down. The hospitals were inundated, and it was crazy times. So we just brought all of these snack boxes to the nurses that were working around the clock, to the fire stations, the police stations. When the riots were on, we were bringing it to the National Guard. Then we started giving it to families in need. We realized how many people lost their jobs over the pandemic and how much greater this need was. Then by August 2020, we managed to go into a kitchen space and start piloting this cooking program. And by October in 2020 is when we had our first official session, and we invited just a small group of volunteers to come together. Since then, since October 2020, we've had just about 4,000 volunteers from the LA wider community have stepped up. It really just snowballed from there, and it's just unbelievable.
So I'm going to jump in the last 100 days, because we moved into our new space. Previously, we were in a restaurant in La Brea. They got busier after COVID. We needed to find our own space. And we're so grateful that the Federer family foundation, the Federer family fund, the Federer family took a liking to what we were doing and have become partners of ours. They dedicated the beautiful space on Pico in memory of Margaret Federer. And Our Big Kitchen is actually being renamed this month to Margaret Federer, Our Big Kitchen.
We're going to go, we're actually on one of our questions later in the interview. We're going to touch on who was Margaret.
Of course. My point there is 100 days ago today, we moved into this space. We inaugurated this space. Since then, in the first 100 days, 1,725 volunteers came through our doors, 9,600 meals, about 6,500 packs of cookies. That's two in a packet.
And boy, are they delicious.
Oh.
And this is roughly almost 40 sessions, meaning to say in the last 100 days, almost as much as the entire preceding year took place. So we're just scraping the tip of the iceberg. We're just beginning. We're just absolutely delighted the way Los Angeles has taken to what it is that we're doing. And essentially, in a nutshell, what it is that we're doing is feeding the neshama. We're feeding the soul, and we're feeding lining the stomach as well. So nourishing the souls of the participants, the volunteers, and then feeding people in need. So it's a beautiful.
Etty and I felt really nourished after our experience.
No, really, we had meetings after, right after we came.
We felt
really focused.
Our soul was nourished.
What I found amazing is that it's literally people from all walks of life, really from all over, every demographic, everyone connects over food. It's a common denominator. Once you walk in the door, everybody is the same. We're all doing the same task. I'm not sure what happened there. I thought I lost you for a second. Sorry, everybody is the same, and everybody connects. Sorry, start again
there. Sorry, we're gonna cut this. Were you okay there? Because we see
it. Okay. So what I was saying is that everybody connects over food, and what's amazing is to see when people walk in, they're strangers. No one knows each other. We make everyone put on a name tag so everyone can connect and talk while you're working so closely together. By the time everyone leaves, they become friends, or they become, they're connected in some way.
And the beautiful thing also is there's no hierarchy in volunteering. There's no, if you come once, you sweep. The second time you can peel. Third time you can jump.
Not what we do.
It's not what we do. Everyone, it doesn't make a difference what car you came in, what zip code you live in. Everyone does the same thing at RB Kitchen.
And that was really amazing, because we were across from twins that are half our age. One is an hedge fund guy, and his brother is a CPA. And we got their numbers, and we chatted with them. Try to make a
it's interesting because that's a very common, every single session, there's someone who makes a friend. And what's beautiful, it's just beautiful, magical to watch. When people come in, it's almost like Chaya and I have this, because we're running many of the sessions. We now have program leader, we now built out the staff. And many times we sort of look at it, the first 10, 15 minutes, people are sort of, especially when we call them quote unquote, the open sessions, when we open it to everyone, it's not necessarily a group that knows each other. Within a short period of time, we say,
Ka-ching. That's
that moment
when everyone's connecting.
In sync. Everyone's working together, and it's just magical.
No, it was beautiful. I know that we spoke about it, and I think it's very important that we bring it up again. I know we spoke about it when we were there. Our Big Kitchen is a Jewish organization. You consider yourself a Jewish organization. You serve kosher, strictly kosher meals.
Yeah.
Yet the food is donated to non-Jewish individuals as well, an organization which I found to be amazing. I mean, really, not only the food is connecting the people, like you guys, it's an outreach for the entire community,
100%.
which is beautiful. And I also noticed that you have volunteers that are non-Jewish as well as Jewish, which was amazing. Can you explain how it was very brave move and amazing? How did that come about? How did you make that decision?
You go first.
Well, I would say from the food distribution, the charity partner point of view, we wanted to firstly make a Kiddush Hashem, but we also, unfortunately, there are so many people in Los Angeles that need food and need these beautifully packaged meals that we wanted to be able to serve the Jewish community, but also give from the Jewish community to the wider community. And we wanted to really show, the heart of a Jewish home is the kitchen, and to be able to show, to send it out from our heart to the rest of the world is very meaningful. And we hope whoever's receiving them feels the love that went into that meal.
Yeah, and I'll also add that in Australia, that's, a lot of it is modeled on what we've practiced over the years there. 99% of the participants during the week are from the broader community, from the corporate community, not from the Jewish community. The recipients, many are within the community, many are beyond the community, but the idea there is that it's kosher, it's under the strictest OK supervision kashrut, so it can be consumed and available to everybody. Someone who's very strict, someone who's not so strict, that's the first part of it. The second thing is there is very few opportunities in today's day and age to truly be able to volunteer in a structured environment in a way that quote unquote is kosher, as in neutral and is apolitical, not religious. It's just something to do goodness and kindness. And the overarching theme here is the Jewish value. It's a really essentially universal value of chesed. And that is, it's really our responsibility. Our bottom line responsibility is to make the world a more godly place. How do we make the world a more godly place? By being kind to God's creation. And at the end of the day, by doing this and by having by not only being sensitive, but teaching sensitivity, by educating the participants that there is a real need and providing this opportunity, we're doing our little bit collectively in making the world a little bit of a brighter place.
You sure are.
It's so funny because every time I speak to Chaya and you, Yossi, my business mind goes up right now. And it's like, oh my God, this is perfect for corporate event. Because like, for example, in my business, not just Yentas, in my other business, we do like once or twice a year bonding activity for our employees. And what could be more beautiful than doing it like, we do sports, and this is like, there is so much more interaction because Karen and I were joking around, yapping while making the food. So we can
tell you a little. I think we can say, right? Who's coming on Wednesday?
Well,
right? Give a shout out.
On Wednesday we have 2 corporate groups that are joining us. So we definitely do that. The first one is DoorDash, bringing their team from all over America. They're bringing. They're having like an offsite in LA day, and they're bringing a part of their team to Our Big Kitchen to donate their time, to volunteer their time and have a team building.
And the second one's a property management company, but in Australia, the partners of Google, Cartier, American Express, Amazon, you name it, they've been. So there is definitely an opportunity here. We definitely welcome everyone to join. Faith-based groups, school groups, family groups for an occasion, a birthday, anniversary.
And there's lots of children. I was shocked, young children.
Oh my God, so cute.
Adorable.
From ages 5 and up.
They were working so hard and enjoying themselves.
They love it. But we say it's one thing when parents are teaching, they want to teach the kids these
Absolutely.
values. It's one thing to say it, but when they see the parent actually giving up their own time, rolling up their sleeves and getting to work, then that
role modeling.
Exactly. What they see is much more than what they'll hear.
And even more is when we're a nonprofit, and obviously we welcome all sponsorships and contributions. I can't help saying that, that's my job. But when someone writes a check, that's one thing. Maybe the kids know about it, maybe they don't. But when the kids see a parent, an older sibling, a grandparent, an aunt, uncle involved sweeping, cooking, being sensitive, it really, really, from our experience, imparts a very, very valuable lesson.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think they'll always remember it. It's
Yeah.
one of those things that one of the boys that was there, I think he's like 5 or 6 years old. I
Yeah.
said, do you know why you're here? He goes, yes, I'm making food for people who cannot afford food, which was very cute for a little kid to explain.
Yeah.
And I said, how do you think that will make them feel? And he touched his heart. He goes,
Aw.
it will warm their heart.
Oh, that's so
That's beautiful.
sweet.
That's beautiful.
That's so sweet.
But on that note,
Because this kid was physically making the food, like he
Right.
was scooping out the cookie dough, he was
Right.
physically making it, so he gets it because he's doing it. He's not
Right,
just doing a small
right.
part of it. He's involved in the whole process also.
but that's also why we specifically encourage 5 to 85. You know, we don't too young because it doesn't necessarily become an enjoyable experience for the others, for the parents maybe. But what we try and do also is provide that educational aspect. Just pause for a minute and just explain that kids, everyone, we may not be aware, but there's families in our community that are struggling, and one will never ever know. Everyone has their ups and downs.
Right.
So it's really about being able to create that awareness and provide this eye opener. And then the flip side to it is to create this anchor with the music. If you notice, there's
Oh, yeah.
Well, we know this.
We noticed we were rocking out to
There we
every
go. Creating that environment where it's fun to volunteer. It can be fun to volunteer, but also to really provide that anchor that here's, doing this goodness, but having fun while you're doing it, and just creating that dissociation.
Yeah, it was
We
great.
couldn't believe that 2 hours were over.
You know,
we came late because of the.
No, it's so fast. So there's
Also,
so much
I just want to say that the aroma in the place is amazing. Like
I felt like
it
eating the
smells
food.
like you're in your grandma's kitchen. It's like really. I told Etty, oh my God, I'm getting hungry.
You know that
Well,
every time we're in the
you
city,
mentioned
we're
that.
going to come and steal some cookies from you.
But it's interesting you mentioned that, because that's why part of the reason why the Federer family wanted to dedicate this specific organization, this specific space, is because of Margaret's hachnasat orchim, because of her ability. And when she hosted people, she did it with a full heart. And the kitchen, as Chaya mentioned earlier on, is just so important in the home, in the family, in the overall environment. And what a homemaker she was, coming from the background, and obviously you've got questions about that.
Yes,
how that happened.
that's
But
coming
exactly
up.
the point.
but also another big part of that is that we're not, part of what we're doing is we have a chef that is cooking all the food. It's all the highest quality ingredients. It's all food that you and I would eat, and it's made with with really great, really high standards, and made with a lot of care.
Right.
And the reason we did that is that we want to be able to give with dignity. We package it beautifully, and the food is, like you said, it smells delicious. It tastes delicious. It's food that you and I would pay a nice amount of money to order from somewhere. But that's the thing, that we don't want to be giving leftovers. We want to whoever's receiving this should feel like they're eating with dignity. For a kid that parents, are struggling and they bring home this food, they should feel like it's a nice, good meal. It's not like somebody else's extras. This was made specifically for them.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up actually. The difference between Our Big Kitchen and in Our Big Kitchen LA and other organizations is that you cook the food and distribute the meals in these very fancy to-go containers. And I wanted to know, why did you decide to do that despite the cost? And I know it has to do with the dignity, meals with dignity.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Because again, whoever is receiving these meals are obviously going through a hard time, and it's not easy to ask for help, and it's not easy to be in that position to need help. So if we can just make this challenging time for them just that little bit nicer, and make them feel a little bit better about what they're eating, what they're receiving, and make them, because they might not be able to afford takeout or like chef made food, and this is just something that we hope will warm their hearts and make their day a little brighter. So we put in the extra money, the extra effort by top quality produce and proteins and everything that goes into that. We have a whole diverse menu that we make specifically because we want to be able to, again, it's made with love and it's given with dignity, and we want.
And can I also add, I think it's important for the listeners to understand what we're not. And the point of difference here and the uniqueness of this specific project and organization, we're not a soup kitchen. So the end recipients don't come to us. We don't see them. They don't come and get the meals as they're, as they're prepared. That's the first part. And the second part is that, as you mentioned, there are people that can provide the meals to the recipients a lot more efficient and cost effective than we can. But to Chaya's point, the purpose of this is to feed the heart and soul and stomach. And it really is an equal, it's 50-50. The output, the food is really, really important. And there is a massive need. But the overarching need really here is especially, coming over, in recent years and the world that we're living in, the fractured world that we're living in. And there's so much negativity. It's really an opportunity to pause, put the phones off for a minute, for a period of time, and really reconnect with, nurture your neshama, nurture your soul, and help those people, elevating their spirits. And that's really what drives us, and that's really what we try and imbue in the, in the overall atmosphere is give your full heart and soul into it. The slogan is meals, love, unity, community, but it should be felt in that when that container is opened up and the box is opened up and the recipient is looking at this, they really feel all the energy, the love, the warmth that went into it and the intent behind it, and that's really I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, there's one other.
Yossi, can you put the bottle up for a second? I want to show them. So I wish I had a container, but that logo the other way around, right there. So just for our viewers, you see this beautiful logo. It goes on plastic boxes with the cookies. They have like the desserts. So it's almost like when we were cooking, it was like Chinese style stew with tofu. So when a lot of the parents, that can't afford taking their kids out, when kids that bring them meals like that, it looks like they went to a restaurant and got it to go.
But
the kid himself cannot really feel.
Exactly. But what else is really nice is that going on what Yossi was saying, he was saying how we don't serve it to the end recipient. We have charity partners. At the moment, we have around 16 different charity partners. So because we're giving it to them to distribute. So what's really nice is that the person that's making it doesn't know who the recipient is, and the recipient doesn't know who made it. So there's something about that circle that's very special.
And also we do it that way because the charity partners know who needs it most. But I want to share two other points. One is, if anyone wants to see what the packaging looks like, there's a very simple way. Go to our Instagram. It's OBK Los Angeles. There is a beautiful, beautiful curated videos and pictures, and people can get, they can see and really get a full insight. And the second thing is, I just want to share with you, without saying who this was or the school that this was, but there was a school in Los Angeles that the football team, this is not a Jewish school. This is a school that 99% of the parent body are extremely low income, many, many single family families in this school. And it came to our attention that this team, the kids just did not have enough nutrition. They're coming to practice, they've eaten spaghetti or maybe a McDonald's because of inflation, the cost of gas, and leading up to the summer, these kids were coming to practice hungry. Yeah. We found out about it, and we arranged to have the kids come and volunteer at the kitchen. So they participated in preparing, and then they took a bag with 6 meals. They took 2 for themselves, they took 2 for their families, and 2 for their neighbors. These kids felt like $1 million. And this is a relationship that we're continuing. But that just gives an example of the circle here. Yeah. And also it's, take one, give one. There's no, and come, you can volunteer.
That's what I loved about your session, because at the end of the session, you guys gave us cookies and you said, give it to your neighbor. Like everybody left with something to actually, to feel what it is to get to the end result of where this is going. Even though most of the meals didn't.
And a lot of the meals, you have a very eclectic menu also. When we were there, we were distributing tofu, like a stir fry. So it's a very broad menu.
Yeah, we mix it up. We also we do a lot of when we have the younger kids there, we do meatballs, meatballs with like a chunky marinara.
Oh, you were just saying that, Karen. The other day she goes, we should do meatballs.
On Wednesday we're doing like 1,000 meals of chicken fajitas. So we mix it up just to make it like really nice and interesting meals.
But it's also because the participants, they're all ages. So we need to be able to have something. So for example, when they're youth groups, we're going to be mindful of, they can't chop, so they can scoop meatballs or do cookies.
Yeah.
Another interesting point is continuation of what you were saying previously, and I'm sure you have questions. Sorry, I made a digress. But it's called Our Big Kitchen. The big, I'm not sure why in Australia 20 years ago they came up with that, maybe big. Yeah. But the Our is because this is the truth. It's not Chaya's, it's not mine. This is our. We can only do this with the volunteers. We can only do this with the support of all of the people that are coming in. Yeah. There's obviously the financial support, but the actual participants, we don't prepare and cook the meals ourselves. It's not like we have a team that would come in and make the 500 meals. We have the volunteers, we put the session, the meals happen. So it's really, really important that we all feel engaged, we all feel involved, and that everyone is truly made to feel welcome. And we really, really strive to welcome people. We have an ambassador program where people who want to come as repeat volunteers, there's only, there's a limited amount of spots. We have a waiting list for a while now, but if they want to come and step into leadership, so we have an OBKLA leadership program for high school students that they can get involved. And then we have an OBKLA ambassador program where they can greet people as they come in. They can talk, really make people feel welcome and help build a community around what it is that we're doing. So there's numerous layers of volunteering associated with this as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, since we answered a lot of the questions that we had, I wanted to go into, we mentioned Margaret Federer, a blessed memory. And can you tell us tell us a little bit about her background, why the Federer family decided to join venture with you guys? And
well, I can tell you, I'd like to say a bit of Margaret was a Holocaust survivor, and she worked in the kitchen in Auschwitz. That was where she was put to work when she was in Auschwitz. And she used to, at risk of her own life, she used to sneak food from the kitchen in her clothes back to the barracks to feed her sisters were there and her bunkmates as well. So at a great risk to herself, she managed to smuggle food out, and she saved her sisters' lives.
I'm told she actually didn't eat all day in the kitchen. Anything she can get, she would smuggle out.
Yeah. And she did that, and she managed to save their lives. She managed to survive the war, and she moved eventually to Israel, and then after a few other stops to Los Angeles, where she had a beautiful home and was very involved in the community, and really the essence of her home was all about giving, and from her kitchen is where she showed so much love, and I was told she set her table beautifully. No matter who was coming to sit, they were welcomed with so much dignity and kavod that it was really, it was a really special part of her life. So if you want to,
so we approached the Federers with this idea, of getting involved in the kitchen, and they presented to us.
They came. Well, they came, and then they felt like it resonated with. Margaret passed away 3 years ago, and they were looking to do something to perpetuate her memory. And this just felt appropriate to them because of what we were doing, and
I guess the timing with the new space, and they very generously, dedicated this new space, and also took very smart. They actually curated a beautiful exhibit of her life. So not only are we telling her story, but there's actually a visual exhibit, and
it's also beautiful. And I saw her settings, for example,
exquisite.
And we want everyone that comes in to be able to see that and see, learn from her and take the lessons that they learned today in the kitchen, as well as the extra layer of importance of learning her story, and be able to take that out into their day-to-day lives.
Yeah,
very special.
And as Steve and Esther, when they do convey her story, they really end by saying, and that is really the lesson here is never to take anything for granted. The wheel of life, the cycle of life, and really just to be very, very aware and sensitive to the needs of others, and always be in tune to be a giver. And really, that's
absolutely. Can you share with our listeners how you obtain sponsorship And also, if you could tell us a little more detail about how to become a volunteer at the kitchen, our big kitchen.
So Chaya, you go with the volunteer, I'll go with the sponsorship. I guess.
Yes.
Chaya's the program and volunteer. That's her role.
So if you want to come and volunteer, then you can go onto our website, obkla.org, and you can go onto the volunteer tab and fill out your information. And then you will receive an email with a schedule and a way to book, a schedule and a booking form that you can choose the date and time you want to come and book in. So we have what we call open volunteer sessions where anyone can sign up. So you'll receive those dates. You can look, okay, Sunday from 10 to 12 on this and this date, I'm available, book in for how many adults, how many kids, and then you'll have that spot. You'll receive a reminder email, and then you'll be welcomed and be part of that particular program. We also have many other sessions running that we run for schools. So a lot of schools bring their middle school and high school students in. We have a lot of people in honor of a special occasion, like a bar or bat mitzvah. They'll invite all their friends and family to come and do a mitzvah in honor of the person that's having the bar or bat mitzvah. We have evening sessions that's for adults only, where we call it like a date night for a cause, where instead of going out for dinner, you can come and join us, and we can make dinner for a lot of other people. And sometimes at night we have a little wine, and it's a nice social event while you're doing good as well.
And we have a monthly single event.
We run singles event as well.
In collaboration with other
organizations.
Well. Oh, I met this Israeli woman that was there, and I said, how did you find out? Because we wanted to find out how people find out.
Yeah.
Because I came to a singles night and I loved it so much that I came back again.
And then
really we have the corporate groups as well that come in. So we have a really nice mix. But if someone on their own wants to come and volunteer, you can, just go reach out through the website, and then you'll receive the schedule.
Wow.
And we'd love to welcome you all.
And then on the sponsorship level, I mean, we're funded through philanthropy. We're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. We run, as lean as we can. And, essentially we're funded by, we have our annual crowdfunding campaign. We have sponsorship of sessions, as Chaya was mentioning. People do it for birthdays, for anniversaries, for a bar bat mitzvah. So it's $1,800 to sponsor a session. So think about it, $1,800 makes 300 meals, 250 packs of cookies, gives friends and family a great time. So if anyone wants to participate, they can go online and shoot us a message or email info@obkla.org. They can go online to obkla.org and donate and make a donation as well. We can talk about dedication opportunities. The kitchen is still, there's some equipment we'd like to get. We'd like to be able to start after the Chagim making soups. So we're aiming to make 25,000 soups throughout the winter. Wow. So there's other opportunities. So there's a lot of opportunities to get.
How many meals are you projected to make this week before Rosh Hashanah?
2,500.
How many?
We're on track for 2,500 meals.
Wow.
The record in 1 week.
Wow.
But as amazing as that is, we have the capacity to do double or triple that. So that boils down to funding. There is a need. There's organizations that are prepared to distribute it. So it's really about systems. You've seen it yourself. In 90 minutes, we can do that amount. It will only take another 10, 15 minutes to do 600 meals. It'll take another half an hour to pack, 30, 40% more. It really boils down to funding.
How many volunteers can you have in a session?
Up to 70.
So for our viewers, Yossi just said that it's $1,800. I know, like, for example, Karen and I, we have a friends group, childhood friends group, and we go once a month. So if you have like 20 girls or, if you cannot afford the $1,800, you guys can put the money together and do a session together instead of going out to dinner.
We'd love to have you. If it's at night, we'll even throw in a bottle of wine or two.
Yes.
Or three.
Maybe some tequila.
And the music is great.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's important. Yossi, can you also mention that, or did you say this? I'm not even sure, that if you have an event, you can also rent out the space.
Yes. Yeah. It's a beautiful space. When we're not using it, we do rent it out for bat mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs, small weddings. We can host 120 people, and we have a beautiful facility there.
It is. It's beautiful.
It's very contemporary, beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's a tax write-off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I guess
Yeah.
you're putting it on the record, are you?
Yeah.
We're going to edit that. See, that count with us, the accounting is my area of expertise.
No, I'm just getting,
I'll put that on the records, no?
yeah, but any way to get people to go and contribute money, anyway.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. But we're very
Anyway.
grateful to be given this voice, this opportunity. Honestly, it's really all about bringing as many people as we can.
Yeah.
We were super excited. As I said, we're literally just beginning. We were just notified that a very, very generous corporate partner has just donated a digital billboard space on
Oh,
a very, very
wow.
busy
Wow.
billboard.
Oh,
Downtown. So we're super creative. So we really,
That's
really do
amazing.
anticipate more people signing up from the broader community. So we just want to be able to just continue what we do what we do, expand on it
Yeah.
until there is no longer a need.
I want to ask you the last question before Karen wraps up. Did any of the news channels pick the story up?
Sorry?
Like big channels, like Channel 7, Channel...
Did anybody pick up this as the news
Yeah.
story?
Not yet, but
Well, Etty is going to change that for you.
let me tell you this. In Australia, there isn't a news channel that did not pick it up yet. But at the right time,
Yeah.
someone wants to pick it up, that's
We would
fantastic.
love
They are
to
going,
anyone.
let's just say that after this interview, I will make sure that all of them will pick it up. See, I didn't want to put it first on the news channels because then you wouldn't come to the Yentas,
No, you guys are number one. I wouldn't.
Level one.
It's really been a pleasure.
But I want to tell you, when you guys came into the kitchen, just your excitement and your enthusiasm and you had brought so much great energy there, and it was really amazing to have you there and to see it in person.
Yeah, we made a lot of
We
friends.
didn't sleep. My mind was going over time, and Karen, they should do this. The last session, yesterday, when we were there, we go, and instead of focusing on our next meeting, we had to go to Pat's. Right after you guys, we went to Pat's, we had a meeting, and instead of talking about our meeting and what we were going to talk about, we're like, oh my God, Karen's like, Etty, they should package it. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, yeah.
I want to see those cookies at all the markets.
We should.
Packaged.
I like that idea.
So, and I have to tell you the last, a secret, Karen gave it to the homeless man right when we got out. And she goes, Etty, what are you going to give it to? I said, I'm going to eat it. And she made me feel so guilty that I ate it, that I ended up giving it to a homeless guy. But it's funny because we met Nurit right after.
Oh, nice.
And Nurit told us that she never gave it to anyone. She ended up eating it because it was so good.
We'll make sure next time you get 2 packets.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Chaya and Yossi, this was an amazing interview. Having neshamas like you in our community is a gift, not only to our community, but for the entire world. You've created a system where all people, regardless of their religion, race, or economic status, can give back and pay it forward to the community. It's uplifting, beautiful, and heartwarming. Yasha koach to both of you. We wish you much success. Etty and I definitely plan to return and volunteer on a regular basis. To our listeners, the next time you have an event or just want to do something unique that will uplift your souls, and just contact Chaya at OBKLA.org and sponsor a session. It's a fun and exciting way to share the act of giving with joy, and it is suitable for the whole family, including kids age is 5 and up. And we saw lots of children there. It was really inspiring. We would like to thank all of our followers for listening to this episode. Please remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Yentas in the City. You can also write to us at dearyentas@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you and answer your letters on our weekly advice column. We would also like to thank our team for all the behind the scenes work. And finally, our sponsors, Soft Smart Systems International and Conquest Realty Investments. Can't do it without you. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we have a lot more coming. Until next time, this is Karen Cohen and Etty Elkis, and we are Yentas in the City. Be safe, and remember to always be the Ruth in the room. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate you having us. Thank you.
Bye.